Police investigators brush up on skills. Paris mourns and retaliates. And local fruit wine manufacturer now certified.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me for Monday's news. 18 police officers from the NCD Command are undergoing an investigative training conducted by the Australian Federal Police on the process of investigating minor crimes. The training is aimed at improving police investigators' skills in building up a case to present in court. The one-week training will cover standard investigation techniques.
These are the police officers present at today's police investigation workshop. AFP is training them to adapt to the standard investigation techniques applied when solving crime scene cases. This supports them to provide valid evidences when presenting a case before the courts.
I'm more aware of interviewing techniques based on the English PEACE model, which stands for planning and preparation, engage and explain, account, closure and evaluation. What we're trying to do is demonstrate to the police on the level required by the court.
It comes as criminal cases are sometimes dismissed from court due to insufficient evidences provided in police statements. Some police investigators say many crime cases are covered but only few are pursued in court with valid information.
And only 20% it reaches the courthouse because of lack of might be police officer might not complete the file because lack of a bit of knowledge how to compile a court file. But in such workshops like this, it gives us more morale to give us knowledge to put up a good file so that we present it to the courthouse to give us a good result.
Colin Barilai, National EMTV News.
A majority of police investigation cases never reach the courthouse as police are not skilled enough to conduct interviews and obtain proper statements from witnesses. According to Senior Constable Godfrey Stephen, only 2 out of every 10 crime investigations and fatal traffic accident investigation cases are presented to the courts each year. Most are dismissed by the courts for insufficient evidence. Police investigators need the skills required to interview witnesses to produce a brief of evidences that is high level enough for the courts to make judicial assessments.
Some of us, the officers, we don't have the real proper skills to obtain rightful statements, so that the statements have been gathered together in a court file, and that's where we present it to the courthouse, and where the judges and every lawyers, whoever, they look at the file, and from the file we succeed on with the cases. But if there's a lack of evidences or something like that, okay, the police, they lose their cases, and then the case has been thrown out by the judges.
The Prime Minister will be attending the APEC Economic Leaders meeting in the Philippines this week. On his to-do list will be bilateral meetings with his counterparts from other countries to discuss matters of mutual concern. Tomorrow, he will meet with a number of business leaders from around the Asia-Pacific. The APEC Leaders Week is already underway, with the concluding senior officials meeting having already taken place between the 13th to the 14th of November, and the APEC ministerial meeting today and tomorrow. Papua New Guinea is represented at the ministerial level by Foreign Minister Rimbik Pato and State Investment Minister Ben Micah. Lay MP Lujaya Kuza has crossed the floor of Parliament to join the Triumph Heritage Empowerment Party. Yesterday, the Lay MP signed formal documents to join THE Party. Kuza says her move is to maintain good leadership after she was ousted by the People's National Congress Party. She maintains her fight for the good of lay people and the country for better development. Opposition leader Don Pollier was present yesterday to welcome the Lay MP.
this alliance now that I have with the party should give a level of confidence to the people of Papua New Guinea that live in Leh, that we're not just pushing on regional agendas, but we're looking to help regional issues. Regional issues, we attack it together as 4 regions, together as a united Papua New Guinea living in Leh. So
I believe in the leadership that she has been providing for her people in Morobe, and also as Minister for Social Development and as a leader in Papua New Guinea. I'm very happy to welcome the Honourable Leader to the Tribe Heritage Empowerment Party.
And to a story making headlines around the world, Parisians gathered across the capital on Sunday at the sites of what has been described as the worst ever Paris terror attack. The attack claimed the lives of 132 people and left more than 300 others wounded. Candlelight vigils were held and targeted areas including a concert hall, stadium and several restaurants turned into shrines as people mourned the victims.
French President François Hollande declared 3 days of mourning in the wake of the attack, whilst at the same time tightening up on security. 103 bodies have been identified from the attacks, with 20 to 30 more still awaiting identification. At least 23 were identified as foreigners from more than 15 countries, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Mexico, Chile, Spain, Morocco and Portugal among those dead.
We're stunned, we're sad. It's an atrocity. There are no words. We're here to pay our respects to all those people who are dead, and it could have been us to show our faces, but it's nothing to people who have lost loved ones. But we need to carry on. We're strong. We're going to fight.
A nationwide state of emergency was declared following a night of terror when gunmen sprayed restaurants with bullets, massacred concert goers and launched suicide attacks near the National Stadium. The attack has confirmed what French security services have feared for months, that there would be a devastating attack similar to the one that left 17 dead in January. But despite boosting surveillance powers, some attackers have been able to slip through the cracks.
It's like a situation where we show what barbarity is compared with intelligence, the Republic compared with terrorism, and unfortunately, since the Charlie attack, it's a situation that's getting worse from day to day.
Vanessa Knight, EMTV World News.
France has retaliated to the Paris terrorist attacks by launching its biggest air raid to date on Syria. 10 French fighter jets dropped 20 bombs on the Islamic State stronghold of Raqqa last night, targeting vital ISIS hotspots. The raid, launched simultaneously from the United Arab Emirates and Jordan, comes just 2 days after the group claimed coordinated attacks in Paris that killed more than 130 people. The operation, carried out in coordination with U.S. forces, struck a command center, recruitment center for jihadists, a munitions depot and a training camp for ISIS militants. You're with National EMTV News. A local fruit wine manufacturer in Jawaka now certified. That story and more local headlines when we come back. Stay tuned. Wagi Food Processors Limited is the 4th company to be recognized as a certified fruit wine manufacturer in the country. After 3 years of operating without a license, this national company received its manufacturing license from Customs last week. While the other 3 fruit wine manufacturers are based in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province, Wagi Food Processors Limited is in Barnes, Jawaka Province.
Wagi Food Processors Limited has been producing and distributing fruit wine for the last 3 years. Employing close to 200 people, the factory has provided a market for small farmers. People from Jawaka and neighboring Simbu and Western Highlands provinces sell fruits, which are used as primary ingredients in fruit wine making. Small farmers have directly been benefiting.
Aken Central, legal place blomi and muklamp, mary muklamp sakarin lemon cam.
Mikam no chibu, na blalo mo semru fruit, and me black some money, me black some ginger money, lemon money. Na the berry me black some money, me black Muslim. All money get COVID way, but me black some Islam money and me black Pablo COVID way too.
Me Woglo Salim 7 to 8 bags. Na mix him, me plus him 1,000, mix him 1,200, 300.
The company has been faced with the challenge to obtain a manufacturing license and ongoing hindrance to selling its products in other provinces. Founder and Chief Executive Officer Robert Mundes says he has been struggling to have the company formally recognized.
System blow governments, process blow governments, people must go through. Then very hard. People call or Kankan office. Finally, state now. Because people are not got this manufacturer's license, so some provincial government law knows allowing people to trade inside the provincial law.
Wagi Food Processors Limited produces 30,000 liters of fruit wine in 5 different flavors annually. With this license, proper records will be kept and the government will be able to collect domestic excise duty from the company. Customs is responsible to ensuring that the company complies with this.
Morobe Province, Chimbu Province, Medeng, Juaga, Western Islands, and demand them high.
Now with the license to produce and sell, the company hopes to expand sales and distribution to all parts of the country. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Lay port workers have resumed a campaign for the government to give local companies preference over foreign operators who are being sought to manage the Lay port. Today, the workers reaffirmed their stand with the union, calling for political support. This comes after union members were slapped with a restraining order 2 weeks ago.
At midday, Lay port workers from Ryback and the PNG Port Services gathered again at the Ryback container yard. A small gathering, but they're making another stand, calling on the government to listen to them. They want preference given to local companies for the Lay port management instead of foreign companies. Moses Eisen, director of the Ahi Investment Limited, said any move to introduce a foreign player could potentially put dozens of people out of work.
Unemployment will come up. Problem long poverty level may come up, person bigger street to may come up.
The campaign calling for government recognition comes 2 weeks after a restraining order was served on union representatives and the head of Ryback, George Guare. Today, the member for Bulolo got involved. He's pledging support for landowners. He's also stated he will be bringing the matter to Parliament at the next available opportunity.
The landowners must still retain their 51% ownership on those investments that they've been doing for the last 21 years.
The State Enterprises Minister Ben Micah has reiterated earlier statements made by PNG Ports that 4 companies have been shortlisted. One of them is the much talked about Filipino company ICTSI that has operations in Asia, Africa and the Middle East. But the companies say they want to play a central role in any port management arrangement and should be closely consulted as the negotiations progress. Scott Wide, National EMTV News, Lay.
While Edarano has been carrying out water disconnection and rationing around the city, residents of Gerahu Stage 7 and neighbouring villages of the Central Province have been facing water shortages. They say they are finding it more and more difficult to find good, clean running water. Eric Harupma reports.
EMTV arrived on the scene as Gerahu Stage 7 residents and 2 Baroni villages of Borio and Veasidaha voiced their disappointment with the challenges they had been faced with sourcing adequate water supply. Women surrounded with empty containers flocked these areas with small children filtered in dirt as these residents spoke of this ordeal they had been acquainted with over the years. Residents of Gerahu Stage 7 said since 2006, after Stage 7 was recognized as a suburb, it had been 11 years now they have been affected by water shortages. This follows soon after Edarano disconnected the main tap supplying water to their homes. However, they claimed that even though they had negotiated with Edarano upon payment of their bills, there is still a long way of sourcing a good water supply.
No so was inside the shower or mibla no sa pull mapim wara go inside the kitchen or flushing toilet. Mibla leave all plus line.
Water is a priority need in these areas. Many children have been forced to skip classes and public servants have had to give up work due to lack of water supply running in their homes. This situation is predicament as many residents have had to carry plastic containers to source water in other areas in the city for cooking and drinking.
Now, se mo taxpayers ya, lo baim gaman ja luluk tu lo miblo ja kain line tu lo hiya tu.
No atuara namin na go school.
They claim that they used to wash twice in a week. Others said they have to preserve more water in containers and are greatly affected by the calamity of the prolonged dry season. They are now calling on NCD Governor Poes Pakop and member for Northwest Michael Malabak to build a reservoir in the area that can supply them with water.
Mi plasta long pla time straight. All minister come, Germany mi pla na mi pla vote him all na all no sa come na puti wara blo mi pla.
However, MTV attempts to get response from the authority concerned at the Ranu and Mosby Northwest MP Michael Malabak was unsuccessful. Eric Arupman, National MTV News.
BSB Finance, a subsidiary of Bank South Pacific, has supported a school in Port Moresby as part of its first community service project. BSB Finance constructed shade sails and bench stools for the students. The handover ceremony took place today at the school grounds.
Harmony Christian School has over 600 students. Welcoming the guests, the kindergarten students put on a show of song and dance. According to BSB Finance, the students are expected to benefit from the new shade sails and bench stools provided by BSB Finance. Country Manager for BSB Finance, Jody Herbert, said this was BSB Finance's first community service project.
Earlier in the year, we were looking for an opportunity to do something in the community, and as you rightly said, BSB Finance's first community project is part of the BSB Bank's overall community projects that they do throughout the country.
Mr. Herbert said it is important for young minds to have the right environment for learning.
Through one of our staff who have done some business with this particular school, we saw it as an opportunity to come out and see what we could actually do, what was really going to add some value.
Mr. Herbert said this project was a great opportunity to be able to help the students in a small yet significant way. Lorraine Gabina, National MTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3395 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3320 US, $0.4782 Australian dollars, $0.3058 euro, and 40.31 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher. Crude oil closed lower, while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 203 points higher. The ASX closed at 58 points higher. The All Ordinaries closed at 60 points higher. You're with National MTV News, and coming up after the break, drunk and disorderly lay policemen in custody, and Air New Guinea to increase flights to Japan. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching National MTV News. Two probationary constables who threatened members of the public with a police shotgun at the weekend have appeared for mention at the Leh District Court. The two men were disarmed, arrested and charged by their colleagues after the incident was reported. Leh District Court Magistrate Tara Dawai says the actions of the two probationary constables on Friday were uncalled for at a time like this when tensions in Leh are still high. They will remain in custody and will appear again on Wednesday.
The two probationary constables, Alfred Senge and Max Klenkupa, are stationed at Leh's Chinatown police station. On Friday, they were dressed in civilian clothes. While on a drinking spree at Bumbu Market, they threatened to kill people with a police-issued shotgun.
The two policemen were partly dressed. They were in half uniform.
The two appeared for mention today at the Leh District Court, charged with threatening with a firearm. After the incident was reported, several armed police units responded and apprehended the two men.
Threatened people at Bumbu and fired a shot, and then they moved along the back road towards Bumayong. That's when they were intercepted by other police units, duty units, and they were apprehended.
In court today, Magistrate Tara Dawai said for public safety, the two will remain in custody until Wednesday for mention. Leh's Metropolitan Superintendent condemned the actions of the two policemen. On Friday, he directed that they be locked up. The two policemen will be suspended from duties and other disciplinary actions will follow. Wagambi has also apologized for the behavior. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Leh.
The case of the policeman allegedly responsible for the shooting of late Moana Pisima has been adjourned yet again. The defendant's request for more time to allow him find a new lawyer on late Moana Pisima's case has resulted in another adjournment. Father of five, Jack Barrier, presented an affidavit to Judge Fraser Pitpit after his lawyer wasn't complying with some of his instructions. This is the fourth adjournment, with the case to be heard on Wednesday this week. The family of a 19-year-old boy at Leh's Boundary Road settlement have made a public call on Leh police and authorities to help them find him after he went missing on Wednesday. They fear he may be dead. Elton Agebigo went missing after he went on a picnic with friends on the Ajara Mountain on the fringes of Leh's Boundary Road. The family say the circumstances surrounding his disappearance is suspicious. However, they have no firm proof that he was kidnapped or killed. Bethany Harriman visited the family this afternoon.
The last time anyone saw Elton in the blue shirt was on Wednesday. He and three friends went on a picnic on the mountains deep within Boundary Road settlements. Moments later, the three boys returned, saying they ran off in separate directions after gunshots went off. Elton is still missing today, and his family says the disappearance is suspicious. His mother is still in grief. When a search team, including police, went back to the scene later, they found a large amount of blood. But there were still no signs of Elton. His father fears the worst. Elton could be dead.
Igolo mexup na em to kemi tupla dok tumola ba mi vasari molo len plomina ikam na elpim lo olo mankene gona panima em stapo em gol simone mo em gol kintaso.
This is Elton's family's compound. Behind me is his home. Now, Elton has been missing for almost a week. Family members are now calling on the Leh police and city authorities to do more to find Elton. Whether he's still alive or dead, the family want closure.
Elton's elder brother has gone searching the mountain 5 times after the search team. Belton is now in despair as all hopes of finding his baby brother fades.
Me need him help government, especially police local help me nem goksim. Baratablo me when I'm stable sem body blame just goksim na. Me les body blame bagarat place on the man.
Elton's sudden disappearance comes days after the community ended a week-long clash with another nearby community. But there isn't sufficient evidence to level the blame on anyone. Leh police still have to investigate. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
The special parliamentary hearing into Papua New Guinea's health management began today in Port Moresby. According to Chairman Bira Kimisopa, the committee was determined to commence its investigations by reviewing performances and impediments to service delivery. This follows a fact-finding mission to selected provinces earlier this year. More Japanese tourists are expected to visit Papua New Guinea in 2016, with the national government's initiative to further develop and enhance tourism in the country. This will be possible with Air Niugini increasing its weekly flight services. 2 flights will be operated to Narita in Japan starting next year.
The national government has come on board supporting Air Niugini to promote PNG's tourism package in Japan. Today, Tourism, Arts and Culture Acting Minister Charles Abel, on behalf of the state, presented 5 million kina to Air Niugini to roll out its special tourism zone initiative. Not only that, but 2 weekly flights will enhance business relationships and increase opportunities between both countries.
We fly them indirect. These are decisions that Air Niugini will have to make. But the government stands ready with the Tourism Zone Initiative funding and push to get these programs up and happening.
Air Niugini Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu said the national airlines was pleased to support the government's initiative. Part of it is increasing direct international flights into PNG's domestic sectors.
Give them access. Sometimes the access is restricted because there's no flight. So we see the big opportunity for these 2 flights to be very successful.
PNG Explorers International founder Hideo Kamioka established his tourism company to promote PNG to Japan. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Air Niugini will now be accepting national NID cards as an additional form of identification for passengers when travelling. Chief Executive Officer Simon Fu said this is to support the national government's NID program. That's a take on our news segment. PNG Rugby Football League CEO says big plans ahead. That and more in Trukai Sports coming up next.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports and to Rugby League first. Bob Cutmore, the CEO of the PNG Rugby Football League, has stated that big plans are in place to improve the standard of rugby league in the country. Cutmore, who was recently appointed to head the country's leading sport, has said drastic changes are needed to grow the code to new levels.
While rugby league is seen as the biggest sport in the country and one which many consider to be the national code, Cutmore has been brutal in his assessment of the code's current direction and has said the time has come for changes.
These are only the pinnacle or the top of the mountain. When you look behind, when you get to the top, there's a lot down the bottom, and we've got to cater for those. And I think, especially this year, because of our commitment to the hunters, we've forgotten a bit about that part of the game. So that's a priority with me, to make sure that the game is still developed at a grassroots level, and we put a lot of development back through with the people we have on the ground here.
The Hunters have long been seen as the pinnacle of the league's development platform, and with the advent of the World Cup in 2017, there will be more emphasis on both player pathways and a playing base that will also see far more players given the opportunity to play for PNG's premier club side, as well as don the Kumul's jumper in the years to come.
If you could keep your top players on the field week in, week out, and manage that, yes. But if we get a lot of injuries during the year and things just don't go our way, no. And that's just football, that's rugby league.
And while there was widespread disappointment in the Hunters' failure to qualify for the grand final in this season's Intra-Super Cup, Cutmore says the expectations, while well-founded, also say it is also a matter of time before the Hunters prove critics wrong. The biggest issue facing the PNG RFL, however, is development, especially at the district levels. And this is something that Cutmore has said he will be working on to improve with a review of the current structures in place. And all of that aimed at delivering the best quality to all stakeholders in the games and to the nation as a whole. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV Sports.
Hunters utility Kato Otio departed today for Canberra and will be taking part in the pre-season training and trials, hoping to make it into the Canberra Raiders Rugby League club. Otio, a former volleyballer, has made an outstanding switch in codes, bursting onto the scene in 2014 with a chance now to have a possible stint in the NRL if he impresses club selectors.
Informed through the SP Hunters Interest Super Cup management of his selection, Otio is excited about the opportunity and hopes to do his best.
I mean, big thanks to the Hunters, PNG Hunters, SP Hunters management. Thank you for bringing me this far. And at least I'll go down and then just learn what I can get from them and come back and help you guys. Thanks.
His mother, Joyce, a very proud woman at the airport to farewell her son, said it has always been a dream to one day make it into the NRL.
Happy with my son. I know how he struggled. That was his dream to become a NRL player, but you know he has to go step by step, and I'm very happy that my son is going that far. That's his dream, and as a mother, I'm a bit proud of him. But hopefully God will answer our prayers. He'll be an NRL player. That's his dream.
Several other players from the SPPNG Hunters are also expected to join other NRL clubs for their trials.
And they'll come in for about a month and have a bit of a break over Christmas, and then they'll come back in January. There's also plans in January to send the coach, Michael Marham, and two of the players who excel in that pre-season to spend 2 weeks with the Brisbane Broncos training. That's still in negotiations, but it's planning well ahead.
Rafaela Kaure, National EMTV Sports.
Raukela Dolphins have been crowned back-to-back champions of the Fairfax Volleyball Association after they defeated Telecom 3-0 at the Filipino clubhouse in Gordons. Raukela were the stars of the Fairfax Volleyball Association Grand Final as they took out the top prize in all divisions.
Fairfax Volleyball Association is known for producing top female volleyballers, with PNG Amoa, the national women's volleyball team, boasting a number of Fairfax players.
Women's by far, Volleyball Fairfax is the top association. We won about 3, 5 or 6 in a row in the national championships. So we're looking really good in that level.
The weekend saw Fairfax Volleyball go into the grand final, where the Raukela Dolphins took on the might of Telecom. Right from the start of the match, Raukela had the upper hand, taking the first set comfortably, which set the tone for the rest of the match, where the Telecom women were outclassed, having no answer for Raukela's onslaught.
Yes, it's exciting. As the president, I want to uplift the Volleyball Fairfax next year. We're going to start in February, so I'm challenging all the clubs to get themselves organized in January, and we are ready to, try our best to get the men to fight against, associations like NCDVA and Vabukori. For the women's, we've got big challenges coming up as well, so we make sure that we master our team and maintain our team for the national championship.
Raukela took out the top spot in all divisions at the grand final, proving too strong for competing clubs in the finals. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
NCDC Boxing had their first trials over the weekend at Murray Barracks at the Ben Moide Club in preparation for the National Boxing Championships in Kavieng. 7 boxing associations took part, with many boxers showing great skill for a spot in the NCD team to the championships.
Boxers fought in their respective divisions, starting in the 49 kg division all through to the 91 kg plus. With many hoping for a spot in Team NCD, youngster John Ume, who trains at Hallers Soccer Club under the watchful eyes of coach Kevin Bucky, caused the biggest upset yesterday when he beat Pacific Games gold medalist and boxing captain Tom Boga in a fight that brought the crowd to their feet. Also present was PNG rep Rafaela Kaure, who boxed her way to a win after losing to her Kairuko opponent in the invitational match 2 weeks ago. The final trials will be held next week. With a lot of new talent being showcased, selection for the team will be difficult. Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. We'll have rugby union and cricket when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Trukai Sports.
The Kimbe Rebels were crowned champions of the inaugural 2015 Duban Kalibobo Lighthouse Invitational Sevens over the weekend. This win has been a long time coming for the Kimbe Rebels, particularly after the team's lack of form and momentum over the past 2 years. Following their 2-1 victory over the autonomous region of Bougainville's Black Orchids team, the Rebels believe this is a stepping stone. The Kimbe Rebels have bounced back from a poor performance in the National Provincial Sevens Championships and have proven to be a threat to the PNG Sevens circuit. They were dominant all throughout the competition, with former Puk Henry Lillekit and the Ponder brothers in incredible form. Their entrance into the Cup finals came after a 14-5 defeat over POM Defence in the quarterfinals and an entertaining match between Armour Coast in the semis. Armour Coast, who had kicked the CRU Bournemouth out of the tournament early in the quarterfinals, were close to making a finals appearance, but a final try scored into extra minutes of the second half, so the Rebels progress to face Aerobi's rep side. Although one of the strongest teams in the tournament, the AROB Black Orchids could not match the Rebels. The Rebels led at half-time 10-0 and began the second half with another try, ruling out the Orchids' hopes of winning the inaugural cup. Final try awarded to the Black Orchids in the second half, but a score that was far too difficult to beat with just 10 seconds remaining. Kimbe walked away as happy chaps, and their coach proud of where this win will take Kimbe Rugby over the coming months.
The Medang Sevens here, I think, has proved to all the people that doubted us that we were the team, but now we show them that we are still the team.
Australia's men's sevens rugby team booked their ticket to Rio after thrashing Tonga 50-0 in the Oceania Olympic qualifier in Auckland, New Zealand. And in the women's final, powerhouse Fiji overpowered Samoa 55 points to 0 to earn their spot in the 2016 Rio Olympics. Shane Soroya has this report.
After missing out on an automatic qualification berth following the 2014-15 World Series, Australia were looking to book their tickets to the 2016 Rio Olympic Games in Auckland.
Very important and historic qualification match.
With New Zealand and Fiji securing their spots already, it is expected that Samoa will present the biggest challenge.
And Samoa would have had higher expectations of their team at this tournament.
However, Samoa's loss to Tonga in the semi-final saw Tonga take on tournament red-hot favourites Australia. Australia struck first with a Palmer-Foe try on the wing.
Cameron Clark to the line, a draw and pass. Cameron Clark for Palmer-Foe. He takes a shot late.
And Foe again scoring his second off an inside ball from Holland.
And then out Palmer-Foe.
Australia kept their composure throughout the game and held off Tonga scoreless going into half-time with a comfortable 10 points lead.
And at 31 points to 0, they're in a very good position.
The second half was rather discouraging for the Tongans, as Australia were the first to score with just minutes in the second half.
Now Lewis Holland offloads the ball and Clark gets a try. Well constructed from the kickoff.
The Aussies stuck to their game plan and won the match with a commanding 50 points over Tonga to book their tickets to Rio 2016.
That will be for the game on the global stage and for the athletes.
In the women's game, Fiji was unstoppable, winning all their pool matches to make the final against Samoa. Fiji was dominant again throughout the entire match, with damaging runs by their forwards conceding tries. And Fiji's Rebecca Tavo led attacks that proved unstoppable for the tiring Samoan defense. The Fijiana team were relentless in both attacking and defending their territory, which resulted in try after try scored from all corners of the field.
Sweepers coming across, Luatua's there, but what about that body check?
And the full-time scoreline stood at Fijiana 55 with Samoa 0. This earned Fijiana a place in next year's Rio Olympics. Shane Saroya, National, MTV Sports.
To cricket now, and the BSB PNG Barramundis thrashed the Danube Cricket Club by 147 runs over the weekend in their final warm-up match before taking on Nepal in 2 World Cricket League Championship matches starting today in the United Arab Emirates. Judah Memafu files this report.
The BSP PNG Barramundis have gained a confident stride after dismantling local cricket club Danube with a whopping 147-run victory. Batting first, the Barramundis piled on the runs, scoring a mammoth 6 for 359, with veteran batsman Mahuru Dai leading the charge with 81, Asad Vala an impressive 79, the irrepressible Legas Siaka, who finished with 68, and Jack Vare making it 61 not out, all valuable contributions to the total tally. Although Danube got off to a flying start, the PNG boys finally broke through and the game was well over before the 37th over, with Loa No, John Bogereva and Chad Soper leading the charge and taking 3 wickets each. The match also gave captain Jack Vare an opportunity to experiment, using 8 different bowlers throughout the Danube innings. The BSP PNG Barramundis played 2 matches against Nepal in the United Arab Emirates, which are part of the World Cricket League Championship Round 2 matches. Judah Memafu, National, MTV Sports.
Your National MTV News. Up next, your weather details for the next 24 hours.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region: Port Moresby, cloudy periods with a chance of patchy rain. And in the Momase region, brief showers for Lae. And in the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, Kokopo and Rabaul expecting evening showers and thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, all centres expecting evening showers, then morning fog. That's the news, sports and weather for Monday, November 16th, 2015. On behalf of the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.